Well, there's places that believe of a lot of strange cases. A million ways to fall in love with all of the mistakes. It's a perfect place to keep up with the pace and navigate a maze. Meticulously engineered to make a payday. Hey, hey, who are you? What's your deal? What's your coming?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brock Morrison, the Short Round Podcast. I'm here with Sensei Ando, and I can't sit there and tell you how much I enjoy this man's videos. When I started to
go ahead.
Oh, I will. I will. I'm gonna sing praises to you a little bit. I can't tell you how much when I got into martial arts, doing it full blast. I've been around martial arts for 20 something years or so, 30 years almost. But when I actually started going to get a belt, going into a dojo and things like that, I went to this man's videos. If I needed to learn how to do a side kick, he was the first one I went to. He's like, pretend like you're kicking over a table.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm honored. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So, once again, it is really cool to have you on here. Most people don't know I had a previous podcast before this called Up the Ranks, but I was in a different space in life. A lot of different things, family wise and stuff happened, and it just went away. Okay. But this one right here, I am going full blast with it. And I'm here with a dude that I really like.
Thank you. Who was your first guest on that other podcast?
This man.
Oh,
that's right. This man right here. Yeah, I was pointing in different ways. 100%. Sensei Ando was the very first one. So Sensei Ando, it's always 3 questions.
All right.
But first, look how rude I am. How you doing today?
Oh, thanks. I'm on top of the world. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing good today. Now, you might have to sit there and excuse Sensei Ando sometime. He's very happy. He's a very happy dude.
I work at it, but yes, I'm working at it. Yes.
So I'm glad that you're doing good, and let's get into it. It's always the same 3 questions.
Let's go.
How did you start martial arts, and why? What's martial arts doing in your life now, and what is your plans for the martial arts? So question number 1, why and how did you get into martial arts?
Probably like a lot of people, I was a kind of an insecure young man looking for some direction, looking for some role models. And at that time, male role modeling could have been Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone. And I tried lifting weights and didn't get much result out of that. But then when I eventually ran across Bruce Lee, as so many before me, I saw a smaller guy, a thinner guy, with a lot of confidence and a lot of self-control and a lot of body control. And I just thought, this guy's got a potent cocktail. I want to be like that guy. So how did he do that? He was into martial arts. I said, well, if that's the formula, then by God, let me at least try that. And then I've been doing it ever since. Still trying to get confidence and control.
What age was that?
That would have been early mid-teens, like 14, 15, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and you're only like
age.
What? Yeah, you're only like what, 27 now?
That's right. I've been training for 12 years. I'm not a math guy. Wait, was that 12?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I'm older now.
Most people that's on this podcast, and there's anything comes to math, they're all like, nah, I can't.
No.
So you was around 13, 14. We're not going to sit there and say, you're, like some of the Muay Thai kids that are starting, 4 months old.
No.
So.
No.
What was your first style? Because the reason why I ask that is, excuse me. The reason why I ask that is because most people start in one style, but they evolve.
Sure.
So what was your first style?
Well, because of Bruce Lee, I went out and found some books about Bruce Lee. He had the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, his notebook. And there was also a training series called Bruce Lee's Fighting Method. So I figured I could just put that knowledge into action. So I set up my garage. I made myself a heavy bag out of a duffel bag and put some equipment together and had some friends come over when I could. and just started working out of those books, doing everything he did that I thought I knew he did. There wasn't a lot of video back then for me other than movies and the books. I was trying to just fill in what was he really doing in real life. And I did that for a couple of years. I was very happy in the garage. I feel like I actually learned a good deal about punching and kicking and some sparring, basic stuff. But then later on down the road, I saw Steven Seagal in a movie, his first movie, Above the Law, and I couldn't figure out what he was doing. Bruce Lee was, at least in his movies, was pretty straightforward, punch, kick, and not even really. I'm not even a big fan of those movies, but I liked him. But with Steven Seagal, with the Aikido, I could not figure out why people were flipping around. And again, I liked that he had this confidence. He had a different kind of body control and body shape, but I just liked his attitude that he was not just Bruce Lee. To me, meant self-control. He could put his foot anywhere he wanted. He seemed to have great composure for himself. And Steven Seagal kind of represented like control of other people. He could flip people around, show no fear, do whatever he wanted, push people around, kind of big bully hands. And I thought, okay, well, that's a skill set I don't have, and I'm not getting in the garage. So that got me out of the garage to go actually find a formal school. And the place I found was primarily a judo school, but I didn't know about judo. I found Taekwondo, and I said, well, they're punching and kicking. I can probably fit in with that. And so that's where I started in a Taekwondo program. It was my first formal martial art training.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because a lot of people do start out with Taekwondo for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because it's more available,
Absolutely,
throughout.
that's why. Absolutely.
And I think, especially back where you're sitting there saying Above the Law, that was what, like 87, 88, right around there, I think.
You have a good memory. Yeah, that's probably right.
I'm usually pretty good on years on movies for some reason. Like if I ever was in a trivia when movies came out, I would do pretty good. But I'm not just sitting there tooting my own horn here, but I would do.
And to your point about it being more available, I went looking for an Aikido school, but I could not find one because that's what I knew he did Aikido. I thought, well, that's what I want, but I couldn't find it. But then when I found this the judo school, Kintora in Buffalo, if anyone's looking, they had a weight room, and they had the Taekwondo, which did some punching and kicking. And I saw they had some other stuff going on. So I thought, well, that's a little bit of everything. Maybe I can, even if I hate the Taekwondo, at least I can lift weights. And maybe I could try the judo, I'll just figure it out as I go. So I was lucky to find a really cool school that was open to multiple styles. They eventually had an Aikido teacher come 2 years into my Taekwondo. An Aikido teacher did come, probably because of the popularity of Aikido after Above the Law. A teacher did show up, and so I thought that was the fate meeting me halfway. So I did get to study Aikido then for about 3 years. So so I was very happy there.
Yeah, because also, when I was gonna sit there and say about the Taekwondo, for some reason around that time there was like Taekwondo school dojos everywhere. It seemed like that was more available for some reason. Like they was just pumping out Taekwondo schools. Yeah. So So how long was you in that part? Because one reason when you sit there and bring that up, I was just trying to make your own way. That really sounds like the beginning of your martial art career. You was making your own way in the garage, reading books, watching movies. Now, the question I wanted to ask was, did you find that what you was teaching yourself, like your kick form and your punch form, was you actually doing some good for yourself? Or did you start learning and he's like, maybe not as good?
No, I'm a cocky guy, and I don't think I'm a complete idiot. I'm partially an idiot. And I wasn't, I was blessed with a healthy enough body that I could just grind out a lot of reps. And so I am a believer that your body will teach you the most efficient way to do something at some point. So there's only so many ways you're going to hit a bag. And at some point your shoulder gets tired. So you start using better mechanics. If you go throw 1,000 kicks on a bag, eventually your leg starts figuring things out. So I don't think I was that off. Of course, once you get in with a real teacher and you have more pressure testing, then you have to start refining your technique anyway. And different styles have their little peculiarities. So, but I do feel I had a good head start going into the school. I wasn't afraid of getting punched completely. I'd seen kicks come at me before already, and I wasn't afraid to throw stuff. So that was a big head start. So yes, I'm a big believer in training however you can, particularly after seeing COVID shut down so many schools, including my own. I was really sad to see so many emails coming into my inbox saying like, well, I can't train now. And it's like, what do you mean you can't train? You can always train. There's always something you can do. You don't have to have a teacher. You don't have to have training partners. You don't have to have a school or a style or a belt system. All of those things are beautiful and wonderful and a blessing when you find them and they fit into your schedule and your budget and your culture the way you want to be taught. But you don't have to have them. At the end of the day, you can still get a pillow, get a knife, and just go start figuring things out. I mean, martial arts doesn't have to be rocket science. It's fighting. Don't get crazy.
How did you get from training to just grabbing a pillow and a knife and start stabbing stuff?
Maybe I shouldn't have revealed that, but there's always something you can do is my point. Yeah. So that's at least something you could build confidence in pretty fast. Like, well, here's a knife. There. Am I worried about my technique? Not so much. Would this work in a real fight? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm starting 100% confidence that I can stab somebody with this knife. Now I'll put the knife down. How about my hand? Would I be able to stop someone with my hand? Well, now we have a new project to work on. So yeah, but I am a big believer that there's a lot you can learn on your own. And nowadays with the internet, absolutely no excuse that you can't find some information to at least guide you to some basic moves, some basic concepts to get you on the right track. And if that's what you need to build your confidence and then go into a school and find a teacher, great, do that. Not that you have to. You can certainly go into a school and just start. But whatever makes you comfortable. If this podcast is about getting more people to get into the martial arts, then yes, I vote 100%. Whatever path makes sense to you. Sign up at the closest school to your home, even if you've never heard of that style. Go try it. You can always quit. If you want to just set up something in your basement or your garage or your bedroom, something you can punch or kick every once in a while. Great,
or stab. Yeah. Well, the Gracies really brought that, that learning at home with their Gracie, jiu-jitsu system,
garage,
the garage, so yeah, you can learn at home. I mean, because you might train at home, but you still have to go to their facility to test for your belt. So you obviously have to know something, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's always come down to this, especially once I've gone through multiple arts and worked with a lot of different teachers. There's a real difference nowadays in the way people train compared to the old days. And I'm being very general here, but nowadays, many people treat martial arts like any kind of commodity. And if I just show up and I do this 2 times a week, I check the card, I get my attendance right, then I will have been granted the skills and the knowledge of martial arts. Wow. And in the older days, you would be like an apprentice. Maybe you would live with the teacher. You would spend your whole day doing this thing. You would learn the skill and just make it part of your life. So in that sense, you have to train at home. You go to class to learn something new, to get a little feedback. Then you take that information. Then you got to go home and grind it out. That's where you really start making the jumps in your skill level. You don't go to class to get better. You go to class to figure out what to do to get better. The work you have to do at home, that's homework. Yeah. It drives me nuts when people just, they don't see that subject as something that requires homework. They see it as something that, I just show up. As long as I put the uniform on, pay my tuition, and go through the motions of my class, I will therefore become really good at this stuff. It's like, it doesn't work like that for anything. You don't go to a piano lesson on a Sunday and then not see your teacher again and not touch a piano till the next Sunday and think that you're getting better at piano once a week at a piano lesson. That doesn't even make sense. So there's no other skill where we do that. Martial arts gets this weird treatment where it's magic. Just show up, put on the belt, and you'll get better. It's like, no, you got to just go home, sweat it out, get hopefully a training buddy that'll help you work some things out privately, then go back to class. So that's my little rant. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's fine. As I got a little phlegmy throat today, must be because my neck's acting up from the 4 fusions that I have in my neck. But, and that does, oh my gosh, it 100% will mess with me. Like if I'm choking, my wife will just look at me and she goes, okay, are you like choking, dying, or you just usually, something just goes down wrong. Feels like it catches on something, right? It's weird.
Do you have like a hand signal that says this one's serious, this one's okay? Do you have like how do you tell her?
Okay, I'll
How
look
do you
at her
tell
and
her?
be like,
okay.
That's it.
I would be very
Otherwise, I'm like,
concerned if at one point in your relationship you start to eat dinner and you start choking and she doesn't react and it just keeps eating, then you know it's her fault. She poisoned you. So watch for this reaction. She's going, oh.
Or she just had enough, right?
Yep, that's it. So watch out.
She's like, I've had enough. But the thing is too, is like you have different people that go into martial arts, but before I go into that, I wanted to touch on, you go, you learn, you come home, and like you said, that's your homework. For me, just like kata, people's like kata's worthless. No, it's not. All right. Are you going to go to a boxing gym and have them show you combinations and just sit there and say, well, that's worthless? Or you go to a Muay Thai gym or an MMA gym, anything, and they show, a 1, 2, 3 punch with a knee and then a kick. Are you going to sit there and say that's useless? No. People say kata is useless, but why don't you take 2 or 3 things out of each kata or part of the kata to make it a combo?
Sure. Kata just means a form, right? Or shape of things. So we have to learn different shapes and forms, whether you're kicking, you're punching, you're grappling. There's just certain motion paths that you're trying to wire into your body. And the degree of visualization that you bring into that motion practice, that's up to you and your particular training. But absolutely, there's a form of kata practice, arguably, in every martial art. Yep. And so no, I support kata when you have a meaning for the movements, when you have a reason for doing it. If you're just blindly doing things because your teacher told you to and you want your next belt, well, then you may as well be swimming or biking or something else. But hopefully you as a student can have that conversation with yourself, with your teacher, to figure out, why am I doing this? Like, what is this? What is this? And if the answer makes sense to you, good enough. Some people just say, oh, it's just exercise. You're just wiring these motion paths that are going to come up over and over again. If that's good enough for you, great. If in your mind you're thinking very specifically, this is an arm break. Okay. And if you're visualizing that every time you do it, good for you. Yeah. But I do think there's certainly, look, I know people who are highly skilled martial artists who love kata and others who hate kata. They're both highly skilled. There are many paths up this skill mountain, but certainly people who bash on kata, there's no reason to bash it because it is a tenable and a rewarding path if that's your choice.
Yeah, so, yes. Like I said, you can pick out, sometimes you'll see a high block and people, well, that's a high block, or it could be like, you're blocking something come down, or it could be a hammer fist, to the face or, whatever. But, the point that I want to go on too, where you're sitting there talking how some people hate kata and some don't, they're, highly, martial artists. Some people just go to dojos and any kind of style just to go through the motions. Maybe they want to sit there and just clear their mind, and that's something that works for them. That's like, how many black belts are there in the world? And how many of them can actually fight, or how many of them just know how to do the motions?
Sure. Well, everybody comes to any activity for different reasons. And some people might be there just to get out of the house and have a social activity that's not Pilates. They're tired of Pilates. They wanted to try something different. Or some people maybe have visions of what they've seen in the movies and they want to get as close to being an Avenger as they can. And that's the step into it. Other people might be competitive and want to make a name for themselves competing in martial arts. Other people might just want to join their kid on the mats and participate in something as a family. Other people might want the physical fitness and push themselves and challenge themselves. Other people might be just really concerned about self-defense and want to find actual practical skills I can use today. Everybody has a different reason. You'll have your reasons. I have my reasons. I try not to judge anybody's reasons because I believe those reasons can change. So even if somebody comes in and says, I just want to lose 10 pounds, I can't in my brain say, that's ridiculous. That's not what martial arts is for. Why don't you go ride a bike then? You're wasting your time. You shouldn't be here. You should be practicing.
And it's not.
Fighting techniques. It's not. But after they lose the 10 pounds, they might say, now that I've lost the 10 pounds, I really didn't realize how much I feel the challenge of this class and the sense of enemy. And I really want to be braver and face that. And they go, well, I'm so glad you're here because this is the place that we can really work on that. To me, martial arts is one-stop shopping for pretty much everything. It's physical fitness, it's philosophy, it's spirituality, it's self-defense, it's practical, it's vague, it could be anything you want. So wherever somebody comes in, whatever your motive is, great. I want to greet you there, welcome you in, provide what you're looking for, and then hopefully you've been hooked to go, it's so much more. I can't leave now because I want this other thing. And that's because that's what happened to me. I went in looking for control, self-control. And then once I found some measure of that, I said, yeah, but now I want to measure. I want to control others. I want to figure out if there's a bad guy, really, how do I control that person? Yeah. And fortunately, the first step is control yourself. Now I want to control somebody else. Now I need to control them on the ground, or now I need to control them with a weapon, or now. So there's always one thing that leads to another. And like, well, gee, now I feel like I have some skills, but maybe philosophically, I just feel lost. I need more purpose. So now I have to study my morality. Like, why am I fighting? What would you fight for? How far would you fight for that thing? So that becomes another couple of years of study and integrating into your martial arts practice, et cetera, et cetera. So one thing leads to another, and martial arts has never been dull or boring or repetitive to me because there's always new meaning to it.
Well, then that's true. You know, you have those people that, just like you said, or you may have those people that just want that achievement goal of reaching a black belt. You know, because that's something, you know, people don't understand. It's somewhat difficult, you know, but like martial arts for me, you know, and you've known this story before because I told you, and some people might get tired of it, but you might not go listen through all the podcasts. And I'm going to let you guys know this now. I was in the doctor's office, almost 700 pounds. Me and my wife's newborn baby that was like 4 or 5 months old, which you see Joe now and she's 5 years old and started school, you know, but the thing is the doctor looked at my wife and then looked at me, looked back at my wife, and she looked at her and she said, he's going to die within 6 months. And I said, what? She goes, yeah. She goes, you know, because of when I broke my neck and I went paralyzed from the neck down, it 100%, you know, controlled my movement, even though that I'm able to move now. But it's still, for 7 years, I had the 4 broken vertebrae and it was crushing my spinal cord and my whole nervous system to my whole body. Right. So that took a lot of damage. You know, I forget what they sit there and said, like, if you have an inch of spinal damage or nerve damage in your neck, it takes like so long for it just to happen. All right, now sit there and think about this much, you know, have an effect. So I knew that I liked martial arts, but I never went into a dojo. And I found one that I thought, you know, okay, it's going to help me with self-defense. Because like I've told you before, me and my wife was in a hotel and it was a dingy hotel because everything was booked. And I was sitting there laying there. I'm like, well, if somebody broke in, would I be able to protect my wife? You know, will I be able to protect my family the way I am now? So I found a martial art that I thought would be great for self-defense. Went in there, the sensei in there, the owner of the dojo, she's like 5'3". It's Shotokan, not Shutokan. It's spelled Shukane, I think it is. But, you know, she's a 7th degree black belt now. She is the 3rd generation teacher from Tekamura, which started that style in Okinawa and things like that. And his whole story is actually really good. But I went in there almost 700 pounds and I could barely move. And let me tell you what, people, she and DDP yoga has given me somewhat of a life now, you know, to where I can do Muay Thai, I can do some jiu-jitsu, I can do boxing and things like that. I may have to take a break, you know, in between. And everybody's fine with that, you know. So if you don't think that martial arts or something like that will not help you, I'm here to tell you that it will, you know, because especially if you have a lot of joint problems and things like that, some martial art, you know, karate places, they're on the hardwood floor, right? You know, the real hardcore ones, but she had mats and she had a hardwood floor where she would, you know, Okinawa karate, you know. So yes, you can sit there and it will help you, you know. Absolutely. So don't, you know, but going to a next question that I actually wanted to ask you was, you take so many different styles, or you at least try to, you know, at least look into them. Now, you have some people say, well, that style's useless. That style's, that's stupid. There's nothing. But I heard a person sit there and say, and you said it earlier, just go try it and do something. Get started. If you don't like it, move on. So what do you sit there and say about people that have a problem with like, oh, that's just a stupid style?
Why do I care what they say? They're fools. I don't care what they say. What do I care? I can't argue with everybody who's wrong. That's a long day. Yeah, they're just wrong.
Why did I ask a man that goes around stabbing pillows?
Look, I mean, that's true for anything. I mean, I know people, I'm sure you do too. And I say, oh, look, a new Himalayan restaurant just opened. Oh, I'm not going there. That sounds weird. It's like, there are some people who just live like that. They stick to what they know, and that's fine. Look, life is chaotic and crazy and scary. And so we all find a way to get through the night, to feel like we have some control over this nutty circus that we're in. That's what got me into martial arts in the first place. I already said, I felt like I was just an insecure teenage kid looking for direction. The chaos of the world was weighing on my shoulders like so many others. And the trick, though, is that you're supposed to be able to find something to gain some security and confidence that gives you enough confidence that now I'm not afraid of anything, that I'll try it. I'm not threatened by new things. Whereas some people find that first couple of things where they find their security and their confidence, and then that's it. They just cling to that and say, there's nothing else in the world. There's only this. I eat hamburgers. They make me happy. I don't care about any other food. This makes me happy. And I just think that's not fully confident. That's not fully enlightened. I think that the marker of true confidence is that you can let go of that thing that gave you the confidence in the first place. It's the canoe that gets you across the troubled river. Then you should be able to step out of that canoe and say, well, let's see what this side of the river has to offer. I'm not going to carry this canoe around with me anymore. I don't need it anymore. That's my feeling about that. So any of those people, if you think, oh, Sistema, crap, Aikido, crap, Tai Chi, crap, I'm sorry that you're missing out. Maybe in the future, it will come around again and you'll have another opportunity to try it or look into it, or just go watch a class or feel something, ask a question. I hope you do. Just like I hope you go try that restaurant down the street that you've been avoiding. Just try it. It's one meal. It's one moment. It's one class. You'll still be you when you walk out if you choose to be, or you might gain something. So be secure enough in what you've already got to step out and test it. And I bet you actually gain more than you think. That's what I bet.
Well, yeah, just like you sit there and said, some people, they eat hamburger and that's all they want. That's just like, I think people that eat pie is a weird
How
people.
Dare you, sir? How dare you pick the fight with me, sir? No, there I have to draw a line.
If nobody knows.
I'm coming for you, man. I'm coming. You crossed the line.
If nobody knows, this man right here loves pie. Me personally, I prefer pie over any cake or anything like that, or maybe a cobbler, but that's also kind of like a pie.
I like cobblers very much. Cobblers are fine by me. Yeah. That's why I'm here. It's the only reason we're talking right now. We can agree on pie.
This man has had many posts on Instagram just talking about pie.
I may start another channel just with pie baking. I may get into that.
I've seen some different styles of things. Like I was at like a seminar where they had like different styles there just to like show off. It was some kind of conference, North Pacific Martial Art something. Look it up. I'll post it somewhere. But anyway, I'm a really good at podcaster, right? Not knowing my information. No, but there was some kind of like older knife fighting kind of thing, and it was actually really cool. To where some people's like, oh, well, you got to learn this kind of knife fighting or this kind of knife fighting, but they was doing a lot of trapping along with it. And I was like, oh, that's actually really cool. But it was just a little bit too far away from my house. But here in Eugene, Oregon, there is enough different martial arts schools. Like if you just type in martial arts schools near me and the Google, you'll take 5 minutes to go through all of it. I mean, there's tons of them. Yeah. So it's actually really good. So Let me ask you another question. Did you ever do any like competition fighting or anything like that? Was that ever your
No,
thing? Or
no, that was never my thing. I mean, I get it. It's cool. Just wasn't my thing. Yeah, I was in it for myself. I was in it to just test me, really. All my little breakdowns and breakthroughs are basically self-directed. I wasn't interested in proving myself to others or I don't know. I just never felt that was the challenge I needed, because I approached class time as a serious event. I get the idea like, oh, if you go to a competition, there's more adrenaline. You don't know this guy, puts pressure on you. It's the next level up. It's one level down from a real life encounter, and it's one level up from your class. I get that, and I applaud anybody who's doing it. Good for you. It's just not my thing. It's a long day. I mean, early on, I did a couple tournaments, and maybe you have to diet down for a couple days, and then you got to show up. You got to drive there. I'm not eating, and you got to wait around. You're not sure when you're going on, and it's a long day. And then after you start having actual responsibilities in your life, and it's like I can't drive down there, stay at a hotel, not eat, get down there, hope I'm healthy, stressed out about all the wrong stuff. I just want the fight. I just want the encounter. I don't mind sparring or rolling, but all of this drama and logistics around it and the money is like, why just to have another one extra sparring around with somebody I don't know? It's like, to me, the value proposition just wasn't enough. I feel challenged enough just in a normal class setting. If I'm losing locally, I don't see a reason I need to travel to lose. I can lose locally.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where you're sparring and stuff probably in your own, in your, whatever you're doing. And when you go and I'll get into this in a minute, but like his YouTube channel has, so many different, you're like the Mr. Rogers of martial arts.
I love that. Yeah.
He's
definitely a role model.
Yeah.
Before Bruce Lee, it was Mr. Rogers. Yeah. He's
mix them together.
No joke. I mean, I love Mr. Rogers specifically because I think most people, again, here's someone like some martial arts style that people just made fun of because he's an easy target. And then the longer he lived and the longer people could see that he was sincere and when he wasn't kidding around about being kind to people and being tolerant and being gentle. And then eventually all the people who make fun of that go, oh, okay, I'm the one who's screwed up. You're real.
Yep.
So at some point, I think the same thing will happen for certain styles that get made fun of a lot. It's like, that doesn't look like fighting. Ha, ha, ha. But over time, if you keep coming back to it and you keep looking at it, you go, but why do you keep doing it though? But what's in there? There is value in there. And sometimes it takes that longer view, the gray-haired view, maybe a wiser view, where you go, okay, it's easy to make fun of everything. Everything looks stupid from the outside, but go spend some time inside and just see what it's about. Don't judge yet. Who are you to judge if you have never even taken a class? Who are you to judge? Or maybe even had one bad experience with a teacher who wasn't that good, but the next school over, the guy's fantastic. I just don't get it. I don't know why people would close themselves off. They can only gain. Like I said, they're not going to lose anything. If I go take a Systema class, it's not you're going to leave and now you're not good at kicks anymore. You just lost 10 years of skill training. You're still you.
Yeah.
The odds are you're going to hear something though, and you're going to catch something. You go, well, that's interesting. Even if I never come back, I'm glad I heard that because that gives me an idea. And that idea is the gold. That's why you went to the class. That's why you seek out a teacher, a new idea, a new perspective, a change in your attitude. And you go, now it's going to affect everything else you do. So to me, it's all gain. Just talk to people, walk in the door, build bridges. Don't make fun of anybody. What's the point? Only you're the only one losing on that deal.